Hey everybody, it's Tara from the Homestead Transformation, back here again in the workshop of the Half Acre Homestead. But not for long, because if you'll join me, we're going to go on a little field trip. Well, thanks for coming with us on our little field trip out to our feed plot. Now, this is our feed plot. It's a good size, and because we're small-scale homesteaders, we tap into our natural resources to supplement our food supply as far as meat goes. We just don't have the acreage to raise things like cattle, chicken, pigs, and whatnot. So as you can see behind me, we have Jake, and he's on a four-wheeler, and he's actually pulling a thatcher behind him, okay? So if you look in this area here, you can see that the soil looks slightly darker than like right here, and that's because he's thatched up the top of that soil, okay? That's gonna give our seeds somewhere to go into. Once he's done with this, and you'll see this later in the video, we're gonna go around with a hand spreader. It's very similar to a rotary spreader that you would push, but you just use it by hand, okay? Using some type of spreader allows for more equal distribution of seed. Now let's talk about seed for a second. What are we going to be using today? Well, we're using a mixture of store-blended legumes, so clovers and peas and stuff like that. But we're also using some leftover seeds from previous plantings up at the garden of the homestead. So beets, a lot of root vegetables, beets, radishes, stuff like that. We're also going to be using some lettuces and peas and beans and pretty much whatever we had left over that natural wildlife would eat. We're going to be using that here. These seeds are past their date, which means that their germination rate isn't as good as it could be. So to use them out here, the wildlife can benefit from it. But if we put them in our garden, we're not going to be disappointed if they don't pop up.
Think about it. If half of it grows, woohoo! A radish is an early plant. How about beets?
So we've finished the initial thatching now, and we've also finished the seeding. So now what we're doing is we're going back over it with the thatcher one last time, and the reason that we're doing that is because wild turkeys are extremely predominant here in Massachusetts, especially southeastern Massachusetts. So we're hoping that by going over it again with the thatcher, it'll give it just enough soil on top to help kind of deter the turkeys from eating the seed itself. All right, so you can see Jake's going around with the thatcher, and then Steve is pushing the roller over the areas that Jake has just rethatched, okay? So that's to help cover our seed a little bit. And if you just look, you can't really see the seed out on the open on the top anymore. That's gonna help prevent them from being eaten all up by the wild turkey here. So let's talk about some of the benefits of feed plotting. Well, first of all, one of the biggest benefits of feed plotting is that you're offering the wildlife in your area a sustainable food source. In this area in particular, housing developments are not only taking away these animals' natural habitats as far as housing goes, but they're also taking away their food sources, all right? So a space like this, and you can see that it is a pretty big, wide open space, and a lot of animals come here. This morning we saw a woodcock while we were here, but we've seen deer, we've seen turkey, we've seen rabbits. In the video, I've inserted some pictures of where it looks like coyotes may have been digging for chipmunks or squirrels. So this is a good food source for a lot of different animals in the ecosystem. We're giving them a sustainable food source for throughout the winter. That means that the deer herd that survive hunting season and then go on into breeding season, which is also in the fall, when it comes time for birthing season in the spring, those does are going to be much healthier when they're giving birth. They're not missing out on food. They're not going through the winter being emaciated. And it means that they're going to be healthier, which means that their babies are going to be healthier. And having a place like this to take their young is vital to their young survival as well. Thanks for joining us back here on the workshop. I hope you had a great time watching us plant our feed plot. And I just want to hit on one other subject, okay? There are a great number of people out there that are against hunting. And that's your right to not be a hunter, just as it's our right to be hunters. But one thing that I want to point out today is that you just saw hunters being true conservationists at its finest. Hunters in this country really are the biggest supporters of conservation, and you got to see that today. I hope you had a great time. As always, from all of us here at the Homestead, peace, happiness, salvation. Bye-bye.